familiar favorites. Please keep in mind that some of these skills I already have full tutorials for, and I'll be sure to link them all down below. We're gonna start with a high-low whip, also known as an Obi-Annie in the Star Wars world. And again, I do have a full tutorial for this, so I'll just do it really quickly. You're gonna start out to the side on your own personal clock. So I'm pointing to 3 o'clock. I'm gonna swing clockwise all the way up to noon. So I go 3, 6, 9, noon. At noon, I'm gonna stop my arm, but I'm gonna let the top of my blade keep going, and it's gonna draw one full circle behind my head as I push back down to 3. So that's the high whip portion. And then you're gonna swing behind your back, put the back of your hand on the back, drag it forward until your blade and your sword is parallel with this front wall. And then from there, you're just gonna push down. You could do that multiple times in a row if you choose to. We're gonna move on from there. So after I finish my low whip, I'm gonna turn my shoulders to face this left side. I'm gonna push down and I'm gonna come out to reverse figure 8. Again, I do have a full tutorial for this. From this reverse figure 8, we're gonna move into a full 360 turn. So let's break down this turn a little bit. Your blade or your staff or your lightsaber or whatever tool you're using, you can do this with any weapon, is doing a full circle like this, just like you're going around the clock. Every time you pass noon, you're gonna do this high whip at the top. So anytime your weapon is arcing over the top, in the middle, you have the opportunity to do an extra loop. Now we're gonna add some footwork to that. We're gonna do just a basic 360 turn, also known as a Shannan turn. It is 3 steps around the circle. So we're turning towards our right. So that means we're gonna start with our right foot first. So I'm gonna take a step with my right foot, and then as I'm turning, I'm gonna bring this left foot to my right, turn, and then I'm gonna step again with my right foot. So it goes right, left, right. Again, I'm going towards the right, so I'm gonna start with my right foot, left foot steps together, right foot again. And then the tighter you make your feet, the tighter your turn is going to be. If you make your turn a little bit wider, it's gonna be harder to make it around that circle, and you're gonna turn much slower. Now, your lightsaber or your staff, whatever tool you're using, has to follow that same circle, keeping in mind that we're working in a vertical pattern. So, you're starting from this reverse figure 8. I'm coming up and over, like I said, I have a high whip available to me. And then as this arm's coming down, that's when I'm initiating my first step with my right foot. And then as I step with my left, I'm gonna be swinging my lightsaber down across my toes, up to the opposite wall, and then I'm arcing over top again as I take that last right step. High whip, swing down, high whip, out. If I do it towards you, you'll see that my lightsaber stays in one straight line. It doesn't come out on any angles. So I go high whip, swing down, high whip, out. Another thing you want to remember that's going to help you with your 360 turn is to spot your head. You can either spot the direction that you're facing. In this case, we're facing the front. Or you can spot the direction that you're going, which for us, we're stepping with the right foot, so we would spot that right side. And all I'm doing when I'm spotting my head is just keeping my eyes on my target for as long as possible. This is gonna help you figure out where you are as you're spinning, and it's also gonna help you from getting dizzy. So I'm gonna go up, looking to that right side, turning, still looking, whip my head around, and then stop. So that is the first section of this combo. It goes high-low whip, reverse figure 8, 360 turn, and stop. All right, now that you've finished your 360 turn, we're gonna exit out of that. We're gonna move into the next section of our combo. So as my arm is finishing my 360 turn, it's coming through this high whip, I'm actually gonna bring it down into a low whip again. This low whip is a really good skill to help you change directions or change patterns in a healthy and safe way. We wanna keep in mind that sometimes these lightsabers are pretty heavy and it can be a little bit straining on the ligaments and joints of your shoulders. So having something where you can stop and use your body is going to be really helpful for that. So as that arm comes down, I'm going to swing it behind my back, and I'm just going to stop it there, and I'm going to drag it forward just like we did before, but this time I'm going to snake my opposite arm through this little keyhole here, and we're going to come into somewhat of a roof block. We got to remember that we can't touch the blade of our lightsaber or the internet will yell at us, okay? So up, down, up, swing behind my back. I'm standing on my right foot. That's the last foot that I stepped with. As I drag my lightsaber forward, I'm going to switch to my left foot. And then as I scoop this left hand through the hole, I'm shifting back around. And here's my block. In traditional martial arts, I might block with my blade. Obviously, I'm not going to do that because the internet will yell. But I'm actually just going to sort of draw a circle around my hand so you can deflect a weapon or a blaster bolt, whatever's coming at you. It's Star Wars, could be anything. So I'm going to deflect, and then I'm coming around, and we're coming around in this horizontal plane, even though we're going to turn this into just an angle 1 strike. So it's actually going to come from the top corner down to a bottom corner. So as I drag it around, I'm going to grab the end of my weapon with my opposite hand, my free hand, which is my left. I'm shifting my weight, that's now on my right foot, over to my left as I do that angle 1, 45 degrees across the front. And then there, like you've hit something, you're gonna bounce back, and we're gonna come out on a horizontal line. So I'm gonna bring that top end of the blade back towards me, around the back, and out the other side. So essentially, it's strike 1, strike 2. And you can make that as fancy or as complex as you want. They're just basic strikes. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. Okay, so here's your 360 turn. We stop. Here's our whip, shift your weight, sneak your arm through, come through this deflection. It's coming around my head, I'm grabbing the bottom end, angle 1, and I'm shifting my hips and my weight onto my left to make it more powerful so I don't have to just use my arms. And then I'm gonna bring that top end back to me as I shift back to my right, send the top end out. So that's the next section of your combo. Now that we've done the first 2 sections, which were high-low whip, reverse figure 8, 360 turn, low whip, deflect, strike 1, strike 2. Now we're in a nice neutral space to do more fancy spinning. So from here, you want to make sure that you're stopping your lightsaber and not over swinging, because we do want to come back into this front plane. All right, so now that you've ended with your blade facing down, you've just done this second strike, we're gonna do a grip switch into your reverse grip. And the way you're gonna do that is like a mini palm spin, keeping in mind that we're doing it in the vertical plane, so you're gonna have to fight gravity on this one. So what I'm gonna do is, my blade is pointing down. I'm gonna bring it up and over the top. Once it passes the center of my hand, all I have to do from there is open my hand, let it rotate, and then grab the bottom end quickly, and then I can use that blade as a strike on the other side. Now, if you don't do it fast enough, gravity's gonna take over and your lightsaber is gonna go straight to the ground. So you have to be quick, but you also have to be smooth and a little bit gentle. Less is more. You're not doing a bunch of flips that you need a lot of power for. It's literally just flicking that top end up and pulling it over, and that's all you need. You can also come back on a very slight angle. I usually stay right in your plane, make it super exact, but for this one, if you wanted to bring it back on an angle towards you, so it's sort of sitting on top of your hand instead, that could also work. Okay, so as soon as you finish that second strike, you have grip switch, and rainbow, up and over. Rainbow, strike with the blade edge on the other side. Now from here, we're gonna repeat our 360 turn, but in the reverse grip. Everything's gonna stay the same, it's just you're gonna have more weight on the bottom end rather than the top end like you did it the first time. So we just finished that grip switch. I'm coming over, here's my high whip, stepping with my right foot, swinging down, up, and out. So I'm still doing my high whip, but it's gonna feel a little bit different because the bottom end is what's moving, and it's gonna feel like it's not even doing a full circle. But just trust me that if you imagine that you're doing a high whip with this short little hilt, it will give you the aesthetic that we're looking for. So, you finish your grip switch, you come up, here's my high whip, step with my right foot, step with my left, swing up and over, and down. Grip switch, high whip, down, high whip, out. If this high whip at the top just isn't working for you, just keep in mind that the lightsaber, the light traces and creates shapes. So you could literally just hold a lightsaber and you would get almost the same effect. But the turn and the mechanics are exactly the same as that 360 turn we did earlier. All right, now that we've finished your 360 turn, your saber is behind you, we're still in reverse grip, and we want to get out of reverse grip and we want to do a fancy trick to end our combo. So what we're gonna do is whip, blind, loop out. Okay, so the way you're gonna start, you're in reverse grip, down by your hip, you're gonna take your left hand, the hand that you're catching in, you're gonna put it on your shoulder like you're holding a plate of food, okay? And I'm gonna keep it there the whole time. You do not have time to have your hand just hanging out here, toss the saber, and then catch it. So make sure that your catching hand is ready to go. So with my saber hand, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to flick my wrist back and think of just pulling my thumb into my arm. And that's gonna be enough to send the saber to the other side. I'm also gonna think about using the weight on the bottom end to really generate some force with that flick, okay? So I'm pulling my top end up, just getting the lightsaber to about 45 degrees at the bottom. That will be enough. And then I can do a little slight micro bend with my elbow to help pull it back. And essentially, you're pulling it back, everything's happening behind your head here. So it shouldn't look like it's coming straight up to you. All of this should be happening behind you, so there's no chance of it actually hitting you. And then as soon as I reach this 45 degrees, all I'm gonna do is open my hand. That's gonna be enough to send the saber on the other side. With my opposite hand, all I'm gonna do is keep my body still, slightly twist my shoulders so that my left hand comes into the path of the saber, and then I just grab it. You wanna keep in mind when you're catching fancy things, adjust your release, keep your catching hand consistent and where it is. So if I'm expecting to catch it on my shoulder, that's where I'm gonna leave my hand rather than trying to reach up for it, because you're never gonna find a consistent, well-placed toss if you're constantly moving your catching hand. So if it doesn't make it to your hand, adjust your release on the other side. Okay, so I'm lifting the bottom end, opening my hand, turning my shoulders, and putting my left hand into the path of the saber. And then as soon as I catch it, it's gonna be really hard to just keep it here because it has momentum. So you're gonna push out, let that top end move forward, do one full circle, and then stop. And that's the end of your combo. So it went reverse grip, blind, move out. I'll just show you from the side as when I release it, you're just gonna see that I very slightly move my shoulders. I'm not moving my feet. Not a lot is happening. Less is more. So that is your full combo. Let's put all the pieces together slowly. So you're starting in your right hand, neutral grip. You're swinging down for your Obiani or high-low whip, high whip, low whip, reverse figure eight, 360 turn, low whip out of that, drag it forward around, strike one, strike two, grip switch, strike, up and over for that 360 turn and reverse grip. And out, swing that bottom end, whip blind, loop out, and stop. Like I said, the skills that I have tutorials for will be linked down below, so make sure you check those out before you do it with the saber. If you can do it with the staff, you're going to be able to do it with almost every weapon. So take your time, go through those skills, build up a strong foundation, and you'll be awesome.